Okay, so quite a few of you. All right. Okay. How many of you want to go to Dubai? Okay, a lot of you. Okay. All right. So there's if you do ever come there, give me a call and I'll take you to some of the fun places around. So, Sheikh Hamid mentioned that you have a few questions for me. Any of you want to start off? What are some of those pressing questions that you've got? Yeah. So what's your name? Jawari. Yeah. That's a beautiful name. What's your question?
The one that
Oh, start off with
That's my daughter, that one.
Huh? That's your daughter?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay.
First time she's
Okay,
start
so this is so how do you know who is right? Yeah. Okay. So do I have to be politically correct or?
No, just yeah, you're free to. This is not Dubai, so it's not true.
Yeah. Okay. Fair point. So the way I would approach that question is that just like with any problem that you have to do some effort to try and get to the solution, right? So how many of you know what 2 plus 2 is? Okay, I think I pitched it too low. Okay, what is 2 times 6? What is it? Okay, yes! 12, excellent. How did you know it was 12? What did you do in your head that made you reach 12 in your head?
add 6 twice.
Add 6 twice, excellent, well done. Okay, let's make it a bit harder. What's 3 times 9?
Oh, that's easy.
Okay, what is it?
27.
Excellent, okay. Alright, I'm just going to ask a bit more difficult. What is 10 times 9?
Easy.
Okay, what is the level of these groups? Okay, so what is 10 times 9? 90, alright. I'm just going to kick it up a notch. What is 11 times 20?
Wait.
Oh, now everyone's lost. Yeah, what's 11 times 20?
220.
Excellent, very good. Okay, smart kids, very, very good kids. So, just like that, when I presented you with a problem, you did some calculations, you learned some rules, and you learned how to apply them, right? Now, Sheikh was telling me you learned about honey, yeah? Where does honey come from?
Bees.
Huh?
Bees.
Bees. How do bees produce them?
By plants.
Right? So, what's your name?
Radia.
Radia?
They go to flowers and then they collect pollen and then take it back to their hives and then come back.
Excellent, yeah. What were you going to say, Jory? Pollination, yeah, that's one part of the process. So yeah, then they take it back to their hive. So how did scientists learn about that? What did they do?
They test.
Sorry?
They test.
Good. How did they test? What did they test?
The bees.
Yeah, so obviously they had to go to a place where there were a lot of bees, right?
Bee hive.
And did they just watch them in the hive or did they watch them where they went?
They watched them where they
Yeah, they watched them where they went, they recorded the journey, then they saw what they did, and they saw when they went back how they processed their honey. The point that I'm trying to illustrate here is that when you have a question, you have to make the effort to try and see how can you solve that question. And the question you've answered is, there are all these different religions out there, how do you know which one is the correct one? And that's, for me at least, so the simple answer, at least from my side, is do your research. Read up about Islam, read about Christianity, read up about Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism. There are many more religions out there. And see which one makes the most sense. And only that, then you'll be able to narrow down which religion you feel is correct. So with my own son, I've got a 1.5-year-old, right? I'm Muslim, my wife is Muslim, but I'm never going to tell him, I'm going to teach him that this is what Islam is, but when he reaches around your age, I'm going to start questioning him, why do you believe in Islam? If you say it's because of your parents, well that's what everyone else says. You need to be able to justify to yourself why Islam is the correct religion for you. He may not end up believing in Islam, that may be his choice, but I will always tell him to inquire, to do your research, to read up, and that's the best way to find the answer to the problem. Just like if you want to find out how do you know where does honey come from, you did some research, you followed through some rules, the same way you do with this question. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. Tough question. So I'm just trying to who has another question for me? No? No question. Oh, that's it. Lecture done? Okay. So nobody else? Sorry? Yeah?
The question. If you have doubts in your mind about your religion being the true religion, what steps did you go through in your mind or in terms of research to try and come to a conclusion of answer to solve those doubts in your mind?
For those doubts. Okay, so let's say, so I'm just going to make this a particular case, yeah? So let's say somebody said that Islam is a bad religion. It's an evil religion. Okay, promotes killing and all that sort of stuff. Astaghfirullah, exactly. Toba, 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 you know. So let's say somebody said that. So I'm going to investigate into this. So you see you have books here. So do you have other books that you give to the students? Yeah. So there's tons of books out there where you can actually read and sort of deconstruct. Sorry, that's, do you know what deconstruct means?
Yeah.
No? So deconstruct means to break down. Yeah. So if somebody says this is a bad religion, so you take that and you say this is why your argument fails. So there's several books written by various authors. For example, Jonathan Brown, he's a famous scholar of hadith. He talks about how some of these problems persist because of people misreading Islamic texts. In order to read Islamic texts, what language do you need to know? Arabic, yes, yeah. The language of Islam is, at least the traditional language, is Arabic. So there's a lot of literature in Arabic. Hadith is in Arabic. Quran is in Arabic. So to really appreciate some of the difficult interpretations, you have to be very familiar with the language. If somebody reads a translation that says, Islam is a bad religion, does that really add to their conclusion? No, right? So this is how you go about it. So when you have a doubt, right? When somebody either comes from outside, from within, do your research. I would say just make sure you try and tackle the problem, or just work through why you believe that proposition in the first place. I don't know if that answers the question. Yeah? Same girl. Joria. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Inquisitive. Yes?
How do you know our religion is the correct religion?
How do we know? So, for me personally, the only reason why I believe it's the correct religion is because I believe that there can only be one God, first of all. I mean, that is it's very, very clear that there cannot be more than one God. This is I'm telling you my personal belief, right?
How did you get to that?
How did I get to that? Okay.
Yeah.
Really, you're pressing me in front of these guys, yeah? Okay, so, so how did I get to that proposition? Okay. What am I going to do? Philosophy of Religion 101 here? Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
right, so the reason why, sorry? Did you say something? Oh, okay. So, how did I get there? The reason why I reached that proposition that God is only one is because imagine, so we believe that God is all-powerful, right? This is some of the things that we get from Scripture. God is all-powerful, He's all-knowledgeable, right? He's all-just, etc. Now imagine if He had two gods. Just imagine for a second. And both of those, astaghfirullah, ya tawbah, tawbah, ya some of you think. So imagine if you had two gods and they're both all-powerful. And imagine one God wanted to decide to create the world. He said, I'm going to create the world today, right? Now, if the other God said, I don't want to create the world, all of a sudden you have
That's a problem.
a problem. So if one God needs the permission of the other God, then is that God all-powerful in the truest sense of the word? No, right? So having more than one God creates a potential conflict. So that's why I believe that there can only be one God from a rational perspective. Does everyone follow that? Everyone got that example? Yeah. So that's why I believe there's only one God. So using other principles like that, when you investigate the world through science, you believe that there's a designer behind the universe. There's somebody who sustains the universe. He's created all these bounties for us. So it points and indicates that there's a God who has all these attributes. Now why? So this immediately shaves off a lot of religions. For example, Hinduism, which believes in multiple entities. Why I believe Islam particularly is because I believe that the Quran is a miracle. Have you ever heard that before? The Quran is a miracle? Yeah? Why is the Quran a miracle? Who can answer that question?
Because it explains about the world.
Okay, good start, yeah. What were you going to say? Did you have your hand up? No, I was mistaken, yeah. Sorry?
It came down from heaven.
Good, okay, yeah. It came down from heaven. One way of looking at it. Why is the Quran a miracle? Why do you believe it's a miracle?
Because you get the proper origins where it came from.
Okay, you get the proper origins. Who else? Sorry?
Is it, so, what to do in your life?
Okay, it tells you your life.
It holds the original truth.
Okay, good. Yeah, good one. It holds the original truth. So all of these are partially correct answers. Now in the Quran, Allah actually gives the criteria in which you can prove whether the Quran is fake or not. In the Quran, Allah says, produce even one surah like the Quran, right? Now you remember, what language is the Quran in? Arabic, right? And do you know Arabic, is it an easy language or a tough language? Very tough. Any of you speak Arabic here? Any of you speak Arabic apart from the shiur? None of you speak Arabic? So good that you're here so you can learn Arabic. Now, the Quran says produce one surah like this that has the same complexity of Arabic within it. How long ago was Islam revealed? How many years? 1400 years ago, right? Till now, no one has produced an equivalent of the Quran till today. So the challenge remains open. So if anybody wanted to refute Islam, that would be the center point to get to. Does that make sense? Yeah? Till now, nobody has refuted, and that's why I believe that Islam is the correct religion for me, personally. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Right. Anybody else has any difficult questions? Did you raise your hand?
You can take one more question, and then we'll have a break time.
Sorry? Yeah. What's your name?
Zayd.
Yeah. Zay, what's your question?
If you are in court, for example.
Court.
Yeah.
As in like a legal court.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you teaching?
Okay.
How could you justify that God exists and the attributes?
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Wow. How can you? So, have you? That's a good question. How old are you?
10.
Wow. Okay. Very good question. Okay. So the attributes of God. What kind of attributes?
And
Give me one example. So when you say an attribute of God, what does that mean to you? Yep.
How do you be created from anything? If you're going to say matter, then where did matter come from?
How old are you? Huh? You've got a very smart kids, yeah. Very good answer, right? So let's talk about this, right? If somebody, if any of you, no, I'm gonna, do they know Lawrence Krauss?
You can ask them then.
Any of you heard of Lawrence Krauss before? Lawrence Krauss, Professor Lawrence Krauss? No? So Lawrence Krauss, he's a famous physicist, right? He's an atheist, so he doesn't believe in God. And he wrote a book called, you know him? Okay, no, okay. So he wrote a book called A Universe from Nothing, where he believed literally the universe came out of nothing, right? So can something come from nothing? No, right? I mean, that's a very logical mistake to make in your paper, but he's a tall physicist. So, of course, every matter exists. Now, with the question that you have to ask is, where did all this matter come from, right? And if you keep going back and back, you'll have to see that there must be something which started that whole process. Have you ever played dominoes before? Yeah? So, can a domino pretty much start itself, or does somebody need to push that initial...
You need to push it.
You need to push it. So who pushed that initial button for the universe? Someone. And so you see, that's how you reach some of the attributes of God. Another attribute, so does the universe, does it look like it's made to be perfectly for human beings? Do you see beauty in the universe?
Yeah.
Do you see order in nature? Yeah? Do you see regularity? So for example, whenever I drop a book, what's going to happen to it? It's going to fall. Why does it fall? According to what law? Gravity, right? So gravity is a rule that whenever I leave something, it drops to the ground. Who's creating that law? There must be something that sustains that law, right? So that's how you reach these attributes. You look at nature around you, and then you keep going back and back and back to the source of the phenomenon, and that's how you reach those attributes. That's one way of doing it. There are other ways.
Professor, there was I don't know if you heard that comment. You know, you said, who's creating that law? So someone said, the court.
Yeah, the judge. Yeah.
The judge, yeah. The judge, of course, has own laws. I'm talking about natural laws, laws of the universe. Yeah.
The question which was asked previously in this class, link included, was then how is it possible that God didn't have a beginning himself?
Okay.
How could he have always been?
Okay. All right. Let's. So who asked this question? I want to know.
Was that this class or Saturday's class? I can't remember exactly.
Oh, there's two classes. You have two different classes. All right.
The Saturday one's the Tashko Pruzade.
Oh no, I thought you just changed the names, but the students remained.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that makes sense now. All right.
Okay.
So somebody asked the question: how do you know God? How do you know God is uncreated? Right. This is a major thing, right? So I want you to take the example I'm going to use let's do. So imagine if I wanted to launch a product. Okay, so I have to call my boss. Okay, imagine I wanted to call my boss, and I call up my boss. He needs to call his boss.
Huh?
Yeah. So of course, there's bosses upon bosses upon bosses, right? Now, if that goes on forever, will he ever make the call? No, right? It's going to be on for infinity. Now, so if you look at the universe, if there's a cause behind a cause behind a cause behind a cause, would you ever reach the phenomenon?
No, because
it doesn't exist. Infinity doesn't exist. So there must have been a starting point, right, at which time started. Does that make sense? Yeah? There must have been a point at which time started. Now, if somebody were to start time, does it make sense that he or whatever that being is would be part of time itself? No. If he himself is part of time, he would need to be a cause of something else, right? But if something is not a part of the universe, he must be timeless. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? So God is God part of time or not? No. God does not exist in time. God exists outside of time. That's why, for us we have yesterday, today, and tomorrow, right? That's because we exist in time, right? But does God see the world like that? No. He doesn't exist in time. And that's why He is eternal. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Okay, should we have one last question and then they'll go for a break and we'll go to the next class? Any pressing
I
questions?
don't expect these old questions from this group at all. Okay, yeah. No?
Okay, any question? We'll get one more. Come on, just.
Okay, I have a question for you guys.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay?
Fantastic.
Some next level questions, right? So how many of you like burgers? A lot of you like burgers? Okay, so if any of you do come down to Dubai, I know the best burger place in the world. Yeah? No, Burger King. No. If you come down to Dubai, there's a place called Elevation Burger or Johnny Rockets. Both Johnny Rockets. Sorry?
Is it more like Burger King but more better?
Much better. Much better.
How do you know it's better?
Huh? I tasted all of them. So
You've done the scientific method.
sorry, yeah, I did the scientific method. I did my research, right? So when I was about, I'm okay now, but when I was younger, so how old are you guys? 11? 13? Yeah. So when I was 14, I was about 95 kilos. So I was massive. Yokozuna, right? And the reason why I was like that is because from my house to the school, it was just a 5-minute walk. But between those two places, there was a little restaurant there. So here was my daily schedule of what I used to eat on a daily basis. So I'd have breakfast in the morning at about 6, 7 a.m. Before going to school, I'd have a burger before I go. I'd have lunch. You have how many breaks do you have in school? 1 or 2? 2. So we used to have 2 as well. I'd have what my mom packed me for lunch. Then after school, before going home, I'd have another burger. Have lunch at home. Then after, Nesquik, the cereals, the bunny ass, I'd have that. Then I'd lie to my mom and say, I'm going to go pray, but in fact, I just go to the restaurant. So, then I'd have my third burger, come back home for dinner, and then that would be the end of the day. So I was massive back then. Yeah.
Okay, excuse me everyone. Let's focus, come on.
When Allah created that chicken, did he create the egg or did he create the
Oh.
Chicken first.
Okay. Huh?
No, but then where would the chicken go? Because if it was just
So, you're asking some very good questions, and there's various ways I can answer that. It's possible that he could have created both. He could have created chicken, and he could have created egg at the first time.
chicken egg.
Or he could have created egg first, or he could have created just the chicken first. From all we know, what we know from science at the moment is that we don't have a complete historical record of how life started, right? So it could be possible that he created directly a chicken or the egg. We don't know. That's why I said that. Huh?
Eat the egg.
Sorry?
Fry the chicken.
Fry the chicken. Yeah.
Because we don't have an actual historical record of how life started, people probably started believing in religions because of that.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So, when they were asking about which was created first, Allah could have invented both of them at the same time,
Yeah.
but people don't really know, so they're trying to find out with their own beliefs.
So people are trying to find out using science, right? So so science is a valid method in trying to identify things about the world. For example, right? Have any of you been to sand? Have any of you been to a desert?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been to. How many of you have never seen a desert?
Me.
Okay, all right. Okay, what's the equivalent of desert? Okay, snow. How many of you seen snow? Everyone should be raising their hands up. Okay, now imagine you wake up one day, you go to your backyard, and you see a footprint. What did you determine from that?
A burglar coming into your house.
Okay, so I need a bit of a long shot of a burger, but what can you immediately infer from that just by itself?
Someone has been.
Someone has been here, right? Someone has been here. Now, did you see the person? No, right? So you use data that's not complete, but from there you were able to deduce that somebody was there, right? Science works like that. We try to use various lines of evidence to try and reach a conclusion. Now, of course, people are trying to come up with a story of how life started off, but it's through this process. We try to use inferences to try and make a story. Sorry? Like a riddle. Like a riddle. So in the Quran, it actually says that God has instilled order into the universe. God even tells you in the Quran, find out about how life started. It says that. Huh? That's real, yeah. Find out. Yep.
With the burglar in the house thing, that's a secondary resource, but you can't just, with real life, you can't just start on something, so it might just be like a tertiary resource. Yeah.
You're right. That's why, so before you even take data, you need to see whether it's suitable data, right? So an analogy that I come up with, do you have a marker? Okay. So I'm going to use this. Yeah. Okay. So imagine, guys, if I have these 3 dots. Okay. So how would you imagine they're connected?
You just put lines through it.
Most of you would do this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? But you don't have to do that. You can connect the dots like that, can't you? Or like that, can't you? They're all right, aren't they? Science, you may have different data sets, but how you interpret them may vary according to how you're looking at it. Just like those. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
One last question.
Yeah.
Do you believe dinosaurs existed?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's easy to answer.
Why is that like a paradox?
People just enjoy it.
So that's easy to answer.
Hang on. How many of you believe in dinosaurs? Okay, how many of you watched the recent Jurassic Park? Any of you saw it? Really good movie. Love the movie. Very good movie. Okay, right. So how many of you like T-Rex?
No.
T-Rex? No?
No.
Okay, which dinosaur do you like?
Velociraptor.
Velociraptor. Okay, you like the fast ones. What are you, Joria? With the Brontosaurus, I think that's it, yeah? Yeah?
I like the shark.
They call them megalodon.
The shark. Megalodon, okay. Alright, yeah?
The Liopleurodon.
The?
Liopleurodon. It was a sea creature.
Wow, okay. I see, now you know more than me. So, yeah. Is that the one with the big teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, alright. So, cool. Yeah, I believe in dinosaurs. We have a lot of skeletons of dinosaurs. Have you taken them to museums?
We take them to different museums.
Yeah. So, hopefully, inshallah, you go to a museum. They're massive creatures. Yeah. What's your question?
How do you know that all the bones from that dinosaur were in that shape and not in a different?
Okay, again, excellent question. So, like I said, we use different pieces of evidence to see how things fit together, right? Now, one of the ways in which we know, so the way we find dinosaurs, right, is that sometimes we find them in absolutely frozen conditions, so their body literally freezes. We have some samples of those. And from there, we estimated how their bones and everything fit together. And then from there, when we find pieces of bones scattered about, we can sort of reconstruct an image of what that dinosaur looked like. Does that make sense?
So you find out what that dinosaur looked like.
Yeah. It's based on several scientific inferences. Just like, you remember the footstep example I told you? A bit more complicated than that, but that's the general idea. Yeah. Of course you can.
Oh, interesting. How was that question?
Yeah, very good question. Yeah. I think we'll call it up after that. Yeah, we should all
Yeah,
go.
that's it, yeah.
That's the best question ever.
Oh, do aliens exist?
Huh?
Do aliens exist?
They could exist. We have no
one has ever
problem.
found it.
Sorry?
No one has ever
There was actually one piece of
No, okay. You said that no one has ever found it. So up till like maybe 50, 60 years ago, we never thought we'd go on the moon. Can we not go to the moon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say just because we never found it doesn't necessarily mean it is proof that they don't exist. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. I think one of opposite around. Anything else?
Okay, can we please have a round of a mashallah?
Thank you so much. Yay! No. T-Rex? No?
No.
Okay, which dinosaur do you like?
Velociraptor.
Velociraptor. Okay, you like the fast ones. What are you, Darius? With the Brontosaurus, I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
I like the shark.
They call them megalodon.
The shark. Megalodon. Okay. All right. Yeah.
The Liopleurodon.
The.
Liopleurodon. It was a sea creature.
Wow. Okay. I see. Now you know more than me. So yes. Is that the one with the big teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So cool. Yeah, I believe in dinosaurs. We have a lot of skeletons of dinosaurs. Have you taken them to museums?
We take them to different museums.
Yeah. So hopefully, inshallah, you'll go to a museum. They're massive creatures. Yeah. What's your question?
How do you know that all the bones from that dinosaur were in that shape and not in a different
Okay, again, excellent question. So, like I said, we use different pieces of evidence to see how things fit together, right? Now, one of the ways in which we know, so the way we find dinosaurs, right, is that sometimes we find them in absolutely frozen conditions, so their body literally freezes. We have some samples of those. And from there, we estimated how their bones and everything fit together. And then from there, when we find pieces of bones scattered about, we can sort of reconstruct an image of what that dinosaur looked like. Does that make sense?
So you find out what that dinosaur looked like.
Yeah. It's based on several scientific inferences. Just like, you remember the footstep example I told you? A bit more complicated than that, but that's the general idea. Yeah. Of course.
Oh, interesting. How was that question?
Yeah, very good question. Yeah. I think we'll call it up after that. Yeah. We should all
Yeah,
go.
that's it. Yeah. Oh, do aliens exist?
Huh?
Do aliens exist?
They could exist. We have
No
no
one has ever
problem.
found it.
Sorry?
No one has ever
There was
found it.
actually one piece of
Okay. You said that no one has ever found it. So up till like maybe 50, 60 years ago, we never thought we'd go on the moon. Can we not go to the moon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say just because we never found it doesn't necessarily mean it is proof that they don't exist. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. I think one of opposite around. Anything else?
Okay, can we please have a round of a mashallah?
Thank you so much. Yay!